Hello everyone, this is Watson, and today we're going to talk about PoE extenders. So what does a PoE extender do? First of all, we have to know what PoE is. PoE is the technology that transmits power and data through a single Ethernet cable. So with this one cable, we can get both power and data for our IP devices, and then it would save us a lot of work. For example, if we have like an IP camera like this, you can see there is a power cable and an Ethernet port. This means if we want to use a traditional way, it would need a power 12 volts DC adapter and then an Ethernet cable. But with PoE, one Ethernet connection would satisfy both power and data. So the PoE technology can benefit us a lot, although it has limits as well. The PoE signal can only go 100 meters, and after 100 meters, we would need the help from other devices to repeat that signal, and then it can go further on. So the devices that repeat that signal, there can be a lot, but today we're going to talk about PoE extenders, especially the 3 PoE extenders in front of us. So now let's imagine we have a PoE switch transmitting the PoE signal, and we want to go over 100 meters. So after we connect 100 meters, we're going to need these PoE extenders to help us repeat it. So this one right here is a tube-shaped, one input, one output PoE extender. So it's really easy. It just transmits the signal, repeats the signal again for another 100 meters. Now let's take a look at these two over here. They look very like. These two are the one input, two output PoE extenders. As you can see here, it has a PoE in for one input port, and right here there is a PoE out for 2 output ports. So basically you can think of this as repeating the signal and also creating an extra thread of the signal to go to another IP device. It's really magical. And this one is the same feature but has a metal gland for different environments it will stay in. Now let's take a close look at each of these extenders. Putting these to a side, we first have our one input, one output PoE extender. So once we take it off, you can see a really easy plug and play device. So we just plug the Ethernet cable into the input port, and the power will power this device up on its own, and then it will repeat the PoE signal and go for another 100 meters from the output port. So really easy to understand. And this one has the 100 megabits per second bandwidth, has a maximum power output of 30 watts, and is rated IP67 waterproof, so it's for direct burial as well. And the other part, when you connect the other side of the PoE extender, just plug and play as well. So now let's take a look at the other 2 PoE extenders. So let's take a look at these 2 PoE extenders. Let's take off the glands. These glands are for the waterproof measurements, so when we are extending the network outdoors, this is mostly where it comes in handy. We twist it tight and it will make a waterproof seal that will push the water from coming in, and it will keep our device safe and sound when it's outdoors in raining or wet weathers. So right here, the one input port, the PoE signal goes in from the Ethernet cable, and then it will repeat it and go to other 2 Ethernet output ports, and each of them have 30 watts of power as well. So the 30 watts power output is the maximum for each port, and this device has a much higher bandwidth than the first one. This device has 1,000 megabits per second bandwidth, which means because it has the ability to connect to 2 IP devices at the same time, so it has to be able to withhold and process more data. And this whole device is covered in a metal housing, so it has a benefit of helping it to release more heat more efficiently. And in some cases, when you have a plastic waterproof gland, it won't help you that much, because a waterproof gland, sometimes when it's buried in a specific type of soil, the soil will corrupt this waterproof gland because it's plastic. In this case, we have a metal gland. This metal gland is a compound of aluminum, so it can resist some of the rotting and some of the corruption, so it will help us to make our connections, our network connections, more stable. It will protect us from the soil and the water at the same time. So these also have a very helpful feature that on the top surface, when you're displaying a connection is deployed right here, you can see that there are 3 indicators. Once they're connected to an Ethernet port receiving PoE signals, the indicators will lit on. That means the connection is currently thorough. But say when sometimes your network is down and you're looking for the place where the problem is, you can check the status of the connection really easily just by looking at the surface. All right, that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to leave them at the section below. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.